I like to really focus on tension in the glutes because that's what's going to, again, stimulate the most growth. And I like having a big fat ass, to be honest. Like, so, if any of you guys are watching, if you're having troubles figuring out which muscle is going to attract the girls, I'm going to tell you right now, having a fat ass is going to be the one that does it. Big, thick glutes. Obviously, these pants don't do my ass justice, but you know, I got a pair of shorts. They look nicer in that. So I'm going to add some more weight to the barbell, and then move up to, let's see, 120 kilo deadlift. So. So again, today I'm going to be really focusing on just keeping my training relatively light. So I'm respecting all my rest times, 3 to 5 minutes, maybe even more if I get a little bit chatty, but I'm not trying to, like, you know, totally burn myself out on today's workout. I just want to kind of get enough to stimulate stimulate growth for my rest day tomorrow, you know. And I haven't trained my legs all week. I know, really bad to train your legs twice a week. I've been traveling, really trying my hardest to duck the coronavirus. So not really training my legs all this week. I just got a new pull-up bar, so starting tomorrow I'm going to be streaming all my streams, purely calisthenics from my home. Yeah, I've got a GoPro, so I've got a GoPro at home that I use for videos. It's going to be quite good for streaming as well, so I'm going to be using that. It's a GoPro Hero 8, so video quality will end up being better. The lighting should end up being a little bit better as well. And then starting tomorrow, it's going to be focused. Well, tomorrow is my mobility and flexibility stream, so I'm going to be teaching you guys exercises and drills that you can do in order to develop more mobility. This is something that I've kind of just started recently doing after visiting Japan. So I went and just visited Japan for a trip to see my best friend, who's also, again, a personal trainer. He's a personal trainer at a place called Club 360 in Tokyo, and they're a very holistic type of gym, as in they spend a lot of time focusing on things like mobility, stability, and flexibility first, in order to, because at the end of the day, that's what's going to build your base fundamental strength, right? Your fundamental strength is going to be based entirely on those three components. If you're weak in those three, then your strength, your endurance, everything after that, useless. Totally useless. So, building good range of motion, that's what all tomorrow's stream is going to be about. Starting from Monday through Saturday, I'm going to be training at 1 p.m. Vietnam time. So I'm not sure what the official time is on that. But Vietnam time, 1 p.m. every single day. All purely calisthenics training. And again, doing all this to keep myself accountable, hopefully teaching you guys as much as I can. That's the only time that I can do it because I got to train clients in the morning and in the evening. So anyway, I've got 120 right here waiting for me. So let's move the camera so you guys can see the best positioning for the form. It's the best way for you to see everything that I'm doing. Okay, so I'm going to aim for maybe about 5 reps, see how I feel. I'm probably going to add a little bit more weight on afterwards. This is just to kind of warm up to see what my body thinks it can handle today. So. chalk your hands. Alright, so I'm not sure if starting off with squats was the best idea. Usually, actually, I start my training with deadlifts as opposed to doing squats. I can feel a little bit of fatigue hitting in right here. So at 5 reps, I think this is a good spot for me to, if I don't really want to overdo it and overly stress my nervous system, 5 reps is a good spot for me to stop at 120 kilos. So. Any more weight and I'll be kind of pushing towards that like 2 to 3 rep range, which is not nearly as beneficial as just sticking to the 5 rep range kind of mark. I might add in maybe an extra 10 kilos to it after the next set, depending on how it feels. Anyway, I think my form was good. I couldn't actually tell for myself. And again, when you're training yourself, it's really hard to judge what your compensations are, what your body does to compensate. I really kept a very good awareness on keeping my thoracic spine extended. I probably could have done maybe a little bit more in terms of squeezing my glutes more at the top, but otherwise it felt good. So I think I'm gonna stick to this this level of intensity right now, that 5th rep. My legs are a little bit shaky on the top, which indicates that I have a little bit of stability issues in my legs, which is really weird because I've been training a lot of that. So it could be that, I don't know, it could be a mobility issue. Most likely a stability issue if I'm shaking. So if anybody's in my chat, can you tell me how many viewers I've got watching me right now? Because I've actually got no idea. It's just, Twitch has been telling me that I've had 0 this entire time, which is good and bad. But, okay, 3, well, at least there's an active amount of viewers. At least there's a few that I can talk to. I'm sure these things would go a lot better. Yeah, it's more than 0, which is, it's more than, that's the best point here. I'm sure this is going to go by a little bit better once I actually get a proper stream setup going, which I'm going to do later tonight. Schmarbles, if you're a Magic the Gathering fan at all, I'm going to be streaming Magic later tonight as well. I'm not sure if you'll be asleep by then, but in about 8 to 9 hours from now, I'll be streaming Magic the Gathering. The new season just started for the month. And I'm starting from Bronze all the way up to Mythic. Low-key secret, I'm actually extremely good at the game. Like, I'm like pro good. Right, so I'm gonna actually go on Magic and improve my chops a little bit. So, late night gains, that's the way. It's actually afternoon for me. Late night for you, so I'm assuming you're somewhere in the States, somewhere stateside or maybe in the UK or whatever. In Asia right now, almost 2 p.m. East Coast, USA. Well, Worldwide Darts, thank you very much for joining my stream. Today I'm doing very light training today, so I've got 120 kilos on the deadlift waiting for me. I'm gonna do another set of 5 here. After that, I'm gonna have barbell hip thrust. I did squats earlier today, but this is mostly a calisthenics stream. So if you're interested in how to basically develop good musculature all around, go ahead and drop me a follow. I'll be streaming calisthenics from around this time. So 50 minutes from this time, every single day starting Monday. So tomorrow I'll also be streaming, but tomorrow's going to be a mobility stream. So if you are not a flexible or very mobile person, I'm going to give you exactly the exercise in order to develop all of that. Because again, I always preach this, flexibility, mobility, and stability are Whoa, none of that stuff? Yeah, absolutely. All of that stuff. Flexibility, mobility, and stability, those are what shape the base for your strength. So if you want to tune into that stream tomorrow, I'm going to be teaching you all those. Go ahead and just drop me a follow, and if you want to check me out playing Magic the Gathering later, that's what I've got planned for the night. So thank you very much for joining in. I'm going to go ahead and hit this next set of deadlifts. So stay around, chat. If you have any questions, drop it right into the chat. I got you, fam. Feels good. I'm just an old washed off powerlifter with a shoulder injury, so I'm stuck watching for now. If you have a shoulder injury, tomorrow's stream is exactly what you want, man. I've been doing personal training maybe about somewhere between 5 and 7 years. I say somewhere between 5 and 7 because it's been 7 on and off, right? So 7 on and off. I run into a lot of clients that have things like shoulder impingements, bad mobility, knee injuries, elbow, wrist injuries, all kinds of types of funny little injuries that we have to work around. And so one of the best ways I've always rehabbed previous clients is, again, by doing really slow, controlled shoulder issues. Now, I actually have a shoulder mobility issue myself. I don't have good range of motion, and I get a little bit of a small click every time I do things like handstand push-ups or overhead press. So tomorrow is going to be actually a lot of shoulder mobility and shoulder drills. If you're a power lifter, this is exactly what you're going to want, man. Besides, I don't think you're old or washed up. I think what it is you need a little bit more variety in your training in order to develop other ways to train your shoulders. Because I'm sure what it is for you, if you're a power lifter, I imagine your shoulder impingements might have come from just bench pressing too much, too fast, and maybe not with the best form. No offense to any power lifters that are out there. I just see a lot of you guys doing really, really heavy weights with not the most optimal form. I'm not saying that's you, but it happens to be a very, very common thing that I've run into in terms of other power lifters that I've worked with. So, again, your shoulders are going to be one of the most flexible in terms of how much range of motion that it can do, right? You've got flexion, you've got extension, you've got rotation, internal and external rotation, tons of different ranges that you can work on. And so if you're just working on this range of motion, you're missing out on so many other things that your shoulders are meant to do. And your shoulders act as a stability point for things like deadlifts as well. So unless you have really, really good thoracic spine extension, really good engagement of your scapula as well, retraction and depression. So developing good shoulder mobility and stability in the shoulders is going to be very, very key for you. So check into tomorrow's stream. I'll give you a lot of exercises in order to basically work on that. Nice plates. The plates are really, really nice at this gym. This is, so in case you guys ever decide to come to Vietnam, you want to check out Evo Strength and Fit. That's EVO Strength and Fit. They're a gym in District 7 in Vietnam. They are the best powerlifting gym you're going to find here. It's a bit small, but in terms of quality of plates, quality of squat racks, you're allowed to do your Olympic lifts here. Everything here is just quality. And the environment that you're in all the guys that come in here are all power lifters for the most part, and people who are really stringent about their training. As in, serious guys come and train here. So again, Evo Strength and Fit in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. This is where I do all my power lifts. I'm like the only calisthenics guy that comes in here as well, so strength is kind of a big deal in this gym. So the environment itself is going to be helpful towards you, because if you're training around a lot of like-minded people, you're going to eventually develop a lot of the same principles. You're going to learn a lot from them in the way that they approach training, the style which they do things. So. Holy crap, the veins in my arms are looking crazy. Starting to develop those Bruce Lee forearms, you know what I'm saying? Okay. Gonna give myself maybe another minute or two. Just because my body's already starting to kind of feel fatigue a little bit. Yeah, I saw that on IG. I saw that on your Instagram. I like it when I think it's always really good when people who do something like calisthenics and will also involve themselves in some barbell work. I don't think any smart athlete would isolate the two and only focus on one or the other. It's always best to combine everything you know about training. That's actually the same principle as like CrossFit, except with less injuries and less poor form. But you shouldn't be the type of person who does only calisthenics or only barbell work. You get benefits from both. You're only basically cutting out your gains if you're not basically adding variety to your training. So anyway, hitting this next set of deadlifts. We'll see if I have another. Let's see if I have another set after me, or in me after this. Looking good, man. So my form is looking good. My grip strength is not looking so good. So I can feel the barbell kind of slipping from my left hand, which isn't the best. So generally, if your grip goes, that means your CNS is starting to fatigue, which means I've probably only got one more set in me afterwards for deadlifts. Afterwards, I'm going to move into my barbell hip thrusts, in which I'm going to take lightweight and go for more volume. Oh boy. Whew. can definitely feel it in my glutes though. That's good. Super thirsty. I'm gonna go get a Pocari Sweat real quick, just to down some electrolytes in. So, Pocari Sweat, like my favorite thing to drink while training. I know this looks like I'm advertising for them. I'm not. I've been drinking this shit since I moved over to Japan and then moved back. Ever since I left Japan, it's like one of my favorite things to drink. You can get it here in Vietnam. It's basically just an electrolyte drink. Super tasty. Makes me feel super hydrated every time I drink it. I used to, unfortunately, they also remind me of really bad, like, hangovers. Back when I was living in Japan. Japan's actually got quite a big drinking culture, especially on Friday nights. And one of the best things to drink in order to avoid yourself from getting hangovers in the middle of the night, just smashing a Pocari Sweat. You feel so refreshed afterwards. Yeah, I can't get Pedialyte here. Pedialyte's the bomb, man. Is what it sounds like. Yeah, Pedialyte's is better in terms of a hydration. Like, it's obviously a formula meant for hydration. Thing is Pedialyte tastes like shit, man. Pocari Sweat at least tastes good, and it doesn't have that really thick texture that Pedialyte has. One of the tricks that I used to do back when I was doing Muay Thai and MMA, whenever I'd have to have really big weight cuts and I have to drop a lot of water weight, after my weigh-ins, I'd get a big thing of Pedialyte, and I'd take one of those, like, you know, they're like Kool-Aid mixes. Not actually Kool-Aid, but it's like a flavored mix. Take 2 of those, rip them open, throw them into the Pedialyte, shake it up, and smash the whole thing. It makes it at least bearable to drink. And again, for really, really quick hydration, especially after doing things like weighing in after cutting weight. So I weighed in to cut weight for a fight, and just smash this thing. You feel a little bit better afterwards. That was also back in the days where I wasn't so smart about how I was managing my weight cuts. Yeah, I was not very smart. I would cut like maybe 12, somewhere between like 12, 13 pounds in a week. And it was just a miserable experience because I was walking around at about 147 pounds, and I had to cut down to 135 pounds to fight. So, a lot of that is just like really, really like extreme bad dieting. You feel like you have no energy, and then the day of the